My request to Jesse was that he made sure you guys knew that he asked me to come. Because it seems like I've been here quite a bit and I don't mind, but you unfortunately are the ones who have got to listen. So the bottom line is I'm going to start today by telling you once again, love you all and thanks for being here. But I want you to know that a week ago, Jesse asked me if I would do this, and I thought I was going to change it up a little bit and do it from memory. And when I got to thinking about everything that this church has been to me over the 7 years, I thought, you better write it down, dummy. So I did again write it down. So now that I'm here, what I'm doing is I'm giving a testimony to what the small growth group I've been part of now for 6 of the almost 7 years that I have been here at CrossRoads, and to tell you what it has meant to me in my walk with the Lord. Early on, when I told then Pastor Ron what I thought and how much his sermons meant to me, he looked at me and said, I hate to tell you this, Mike, but he said, they won't be enough to save you and you will need more. And he flat told me I need to become part of a small group. Well, I decided if you pay your doctor for medical advice and you do as he tells you, and you pay your lawyer for legal advice and follow it, maybe, just maybe, when your pastor tells you if you want to find the Lord and have a shot at eternal life, you should listen. I did. I've never been sorry. And I know between this church, the people that dwell here, and the small groups I'm part of, I know from my time and money, I've been given a chance to actually walk with the Lord. Thanks to all of you. The first group I joined met in the beginning at Pastor Ron's house, now Bishop Ron's. It grew enough, it was moved here to the church on Sunday nights, and what we did is while the sermon is fresh in your mind, we discussed it and talked about the scripture used to make it and what it means to each of us. I believe understanding all that has helped me understand myself and what the Lord requires of me. So, in learning that, I have realized I needed to give a testimony, and in a sense, though, I was already getting practice with a small group of people on Sunday night. My first testimony like this here at church, though, led me to a chance to go to church and worship with a woman that I have loved for 38 years, and now we had been together for 35, and then had at that time had never attended church together. The results of that first testimony was that we began coming to church together, and until COVID, we're always here together and will be together here again someday. I feel like that was a gift straight from Jesus himself and the knowledge I had gained about myself in that small group. My wife loves getting greeting cards, and with what we've been studying about love in our group and in our sermons here this last month, what I decided to do was to share one of those cards that I gave her, because each year, because she loves greeting cards so much, for special occasions like Valentine's Day or her birthday, I give her at least 5. And I ran across one that I thought, of all these years I've been giving this woman cards, this one truly says something about what true love is. And what this card says, and you have to remember, it's one of those laugh and cry at the same time kind of cards. What it says, I also add a little note to every card I give her. So I'm going to read the card and then the note that I wrote inside myself. And what this card says, true love, you know everything about me and you still haven't tried to escape. And I said, thank you very much for that on the inside of the card. But I wrote to Marie, this card may have more truth in it than any I have ever given you, but it is also funny, and your love for me amazes me. With all my love, Mike. So she's just been a huge part of my life, and now that we are back worshiping together, whether it is at home or here, it just has been a big improvement in my life. And I learned a lot about myself in that growth group that I'm part of that I feel like has made a lot of this very possible. So the next thing I now know is that 25 years ago, or when I was 25 years old, which would have been, over 40 now years. In fact, almost getting close to 50, I walked away from the Lord, and yet he continued to be good to me. And I don't suggest trying that, but I learned in my group it was through the Lord's patience, love, and grace that I was offered a chance to still be saved. And that it was not my good deeds that were going to save me. Don't get me wrong, your good deeds are important, but only if you do them as it is stated in Matthew chapter 6, 1 through 4. And for 40 plus years, I was never good at it. But I found that out in my growth group, not me, but the Lord is responsible for the chance to help. Matthew 1 through 4 says this, "Take care, don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired, for then you will lose the reward from your Father in heaven. When you give a gift to a beggar, don't shout about it as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogues and the streets to call attention to their acts of charity. I tell you in all earnestness that they have received all the reward that they will ever get. But when you do a kindness to someone, do it secretly. Don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing, and your Father, who knows all secrets, will reward you." I still have a lot of practice to do because I hate that word hypocrite, and I got to get that right. So, also, my group helps me look at myself. I think this has helped me see what the Lord sees, both good and bad. We don't always see what others do. I have learned to remove the noise of the world and replace it with what I have learned here at CrossRoads through my small groups. I also learned that first group, now that I've been part of it 6 years, still was not enough. And I felt the Lord wanted more from me. But the question was, what? Then the Lord, as he often does, showed me, because I don't hear him speak to me, but I'm thoroughly convinced he shows me. I'm cleaning out a desk, and in that desk at home, I found this. And this probably from out there looks like a Bible. And this Bible it's been taped together for years, but it was not because of my use of the Bible. It was my childhood hero, and it was given to me when he passed away by my mother. And the reason it is taped together is because that person was my dad. And this is not only now a Bible, but a diary of what Dad believed was important to becoming a Christian. It's marked up the way it is because my dad, for years, taught Sunday school to children and to adults. And I truly believe, this Bible was a message from the Lord to go teach children. And so that's my second small group. I have a small group of children now that I work with twice a month here at CrossRoads. And even then, starting to teach them, I learned the perils of trying to be a righteous and just man. It came in a lesson that I gave to the children. And in James 3, verse 1 and 2, it said this to me when I was teaching the children. "Dear brothers, don't be eager to tell others their faults, for we all make many mistakes. And when we teachers of religion, who should know better, do wrong, our punishment will be greater than it would be for others. If anyone can control his tongue, it proves that he has perfect control over himself in every other way." The problem is, as you read on in the Bible about that, it basically says you can't find men and women that exist, that are capable of that all the time. So at best, all of us are out of control of our lives at some point. Yet, already, by accepting the task of being a teacher of a small group of children, it has made a difference in my life with the Lord. As you all know and see, I have a little brother from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and when I asked Clayton if he would be willing to help me on the Sundays that I teach, he said yes. And now, like clockwork, I have a young man who is 10 years old who comes to church with me twice a month to help me with the class. He never misses, and he never gives an excuse. He just comes and helps me as he promised. He is great help too, and really seems to enjoy it. In the short time I have taught, feel like I have brought someone to the Lord, and now by showing Clayton, not telling him, but by showing Clayton what to be Christian is, he has a chance at making the Lord part of his life. I have just two more things that I feel that the small groups I have given to me and that I have time to share with you today. The first one is something that is priceless. And it is a friend that I met at the first small group. He has done more to help me than almost any other friend I've ever had. And for sure, he's helped me see what I was and what I can become in my walk with the Lord. For that, Terry Little, I thank you. Last one for today. I've learned through my small group to be humble. Well, let me rephrase that. A bit humble. After last Sunday nights at group, I am able to humble myself enough to publicly apologize to the Lord and the other members of my group for the sin that I committed of talking over them when I strongly disagreed with about something with them, which regardless of who was right, what I did was wrong. And I want the Lord and them to know I'm truly sorry, and I ask for their forgiveness. I feel I almost caused someone to walk out of that group. And I want you to know that with the power of the Lord, the shame of what I've done is already gone. Now, I could go on, but like my sins, there just isn't enough time to tell you about all of the last 7 years and what they have meant to my life as far as my walk with the Lord. If, for example, though, you'd like to know all the reasons it took me almost 72 years to join my first church, ask me. I'll tell you, but the main one is this. The difference this church and the people who dwell here have made in my relationship with Jesus Christ makes me love you all. And what I have to tell you to end is that I'm not sure I will ever be good enough to be the Lord's disciple, but I know I can be a messenger, even though at times I am an unfaithful one. I love you all, and I pray the Lord's light will shine on each and every one of us as we try through these groups to bring more people to know the love of God. And thank you for today and the chance to share what the Lord has meant to me over the last 7 years. You all have a great day.
That's awesome.